17 HP in a dream. You gotta land the headshot. They do! Are you kidding me with the ace? Kermit! They keep their team alive! He's gonna touch this one. The well will come up. They're gonna be weakened. They have to land this headshot. They're gonna do so! Balfinjager! I think they got just enough time.
0.1. Clutch. 0.14.
I'm playing most colleges that I recognize just by name, by color, just by their team name, so it's fun to play colleges that you know. That creates a decent vibe for everybody. As soon as I walk into the arena, most of the time everyone's in there like an hour early, getting practice in. I just get loud. It's game day.
Windsor University strives for like the close-knit community thing, so it's nice when you're like, hey, I won, and everyone is also as competitive with it as you are.
After the game, we always like celebrate, check in with each other, and after winning games, it's a great feeling.
If we can joke around in the intense moments and in the fun moments, like if we can carry that energy through, then it usually helps us win.
Outside of the team, you're also sitting next to the same 50, 60 students every night, and it's fun just to do something cool and clutch and turn around and see 3 or 4 people watching you ready to clap you on.
We're always stoked to compete because we always know Waynesburg's going to win.
You have more important things in life to think about than your internet. At BreezeLine, we propel life forward with home internet so reliable, you don't have to think about it. With a team that goes above and beyond. Fiber-powered speeds up to 1 gig. And 99.9% reliability at any hour. In any room. You won't have to think about your internet again. Go to breezeline.com for internet that propels life forward.
Here at Mountain Esports, we take it to the next level. Our players have the ability to travel, compete, and even participate on the caffeine committee. Check out the Insta to see what's new with Mountain Esports today.
At the Mount, things are, well, elevated. And it's not just because we're on a mountain. The experience at a small college like Mount Aloysius is actually personal. The faculty and staff know my goals. It's a level of support you won't find at other colleges. And the Mount backs it up with career-focused partnerships and majors. As soon as I visited, it just felt like home. That's what makes this place different. Makes college elevated. Mount Aloysius College.
thought he was going to get that off the backboard, but he'll just take the ceiling pinch instead.
Following up the defense, and now you're saying regardless of who takes this game, I don't feel like there's going to be too much momentum gathered from them unless they truly can put the style on it, and Panel Bucket might just be the hero.
But this time around, it's confirmed not to be deja vu, as the outcome's very different, as this is a quick equalizer for Penn Trafford.
There's no deja vu, there's no mystical components of this game.
Defensive Hempfield for Franklin Regional to potentially tie this one up.
Yeah, you saw, unfortunately, though, the bump, although it did come through, there was just no kind of pass out.
Call him you, Pyro, if that's all right with yourself, and we'll work from there.
No, you. Oh, you. Oh, my.
Nice.
Nugget. Another one, and it's assisted by you.
Look at this passing play. I mean, 3-player passing play down the field.
Spike planted. One down.
Separate sightlines, but they're not jumping into their tailwinds to get some sort of sightline separation. They're jumping in purely to go for these kills. They're and now Vayne is alone, has to jump over the top of the stone cover, spray through. No way. The classic right click. Chance for a second. May happen. No chance for it is carrot cake.
Catch him jumping, going for the next target. 17 HP in a dream. You gotta land the headshot. They do! Are you kidding me with the ace? Kermit! They keep their team alive! He's gonna touch this one. The well will come up. They're gonna be weakened. They have to land this headshot. They're gonna do so! Bolfenjager! I think they got just enough time.
Point one. Clutch. 1-4.
I'm playing most colleges that I recognize just by name, by color, just by their team name, so it's fun to play colleges that you know. That creates a decent vibe for everybody.
As soon as I walk into the arena, most of the time everyone's in there like an hour early, getting practice in. I just get loud. It's game day.
Waynesburg University strives for like the close-knit community thing, so it's nice when you're like, hey, I won, and everyone is also as competitive with it as you are.
After the game, we always like celebrate, check in with each other, and after winning games, it's a great feeling.
If we can joke around in the intense moments and in the fun moments, like if we can carry that energy through, then it usually helps us win.
Outside of the team, you're also sitting next to the same 50-60 students every night, and it's fun just to do something cool and clutch and turn around and see 3 or 4 people watching you ready to clap you on.
We're always stoked to compete because we always know Waynesburg's going to win.
You have more important things in life to think about than your internet. At BreezeLine, we propel life forward with home internet so reliable, you don't have to think about it. With a team that goes above and beyond, fiber-powered speeds up to 1 gig, and 99.9% reliability at any hour, in any room. You won't have to think about your internet again. Go to breezeline.com for internet that propels life forward.
Here at Mountain Esports, we take it to the next level. Our players have the ability to travel, compete, and even participate on the caffeine committee. Check out the Insta to see what's new with Mountain Esports today.
At the Mount, things are, well, elevated. And it's not just because we're on a mountain. The experience at a small college like Mount Aloysius is actually personal. The faculty and staff know my goals. It's a level of support you won't find at other colleges. And the Mount backs it up with career-focused partnerships and majors. As soon as I visited, it just felt like home. That's what makes this place different. Makes college elevated. Mount Aloysius College.
The ceiling. Thought he was gonna get that off the backboard, but he'll just take the ceiling pinch instead.
Following up with the defense, and now you're saying regardless of who takes this game, I don't feel like there's going to be too much momentum gathered from them unless they truly can put the style on it, and Panel Bucket might just be the hero.
This time around, it's confirmed not to be deja vu, as the outcome's very different, as this is a quick equalizer for Penn Trafford.
There's no deja vu, there's no mystical components of this game.
Defensive hemp field for Franklin Regional to potentially tie this one up.
Yeah, you saw, unfortunately, though, the bump, although it did come through, there was just no kind of pass out.
Call him you, Pyro, if that's all right with yourself, and we'll work from there.
No, you. Oh, you. Oh, my. Nugget. Another one, and it's assisted by you.
Look at this passing play. I mean, 3-player passing play down the field.
jumping into their tailwinds to get some sort of sightline separation. They're jumping in purely to go for these kills. And now Vayne is alone, has to jump over the top of the stone cover, spray through. No way. The classic right click. Chance for a second. May happen. No chance for it is carrot cake.
Catch him jumping, going for the next target. 17 HP in a dream. You gotta land the headshot. They do! Are you kidding me with the ace? Kermit! They keep their team alive! He's gonna touch this one. The well will come up. They're gonna be weakened. They have to land this headshot. They're gonna do so! Wolfenjager! I think they got just enough time.
Point one. Clutch. 1-4.
I'm playing most colleges that I recognize just by name, by color, just by their team name, so it's fun to play colleges that you know. That creates a decent vibe for everybody.
As soon as I walk into the arena, most of the time everyone's in there like an hour early, getting practice in. I just get loud. It's game day.
Waynesburg University strives for like the close-knit community thing, so it's nice when you're like, hey, I won, and everyone is also as competitive with it as you are.
After the game, we always like celebrate, check in with each other, and after winning games, it's a great feeling.
If we can joke around in the intense moments and in the fun moments, like if we can carry that energy through, then it usually helps us win.
Outside of the team, you're also sitting next to the same 50-60 students every night, and it's fun just to do something cool and clutch and turn around and see 3 or 4 people watching you ready to clap you on.
We're always stoked to compete because we always know Waynesburg's going to win.
You have more important things in life to think about than your internet. At Breezeline, we propel life forward with home internet so reliable, you don't have to think about it. With a team that goes above and beyond, fiber-powered speeds up to 1 gig, and 99.9% reliability at any hour, in any room. You won't have to think about your internet again. Go to breezeline.com for internet that propels life forward.
Here at Mountain Esports, we take it to the next level. Our players have the ability to travel, compete, and even participate on the caffeine committee. Check out the Insta to see what's new with Mountain Esports today.
At the Mount, things are, well, elevated. And it's not just because we're on a mountain. The experience at a small college like Mount Aloysius is actually personal. The faculty and staff know my goals. It's a level of support you won't find at other colleges. And the Mount backs it up with career-focused partnerships and majors. As soon as I visited, it just felt like home. That's what makes this place different, makes college elevated.
Welcome in, all you Pennsylvania faithful. It's time to get the rectangular state into a shape in your faces that you're ready for your spaces. It's TEC time. The Esport Company brings you live and loud into week number 4. It's Thursday, and it's the day before spooky time. I'm Hell Monkey Man alongside Spaceman. It's the man's show, but it's Space Monkey time, I guess. So
it's
Spaceman.
I like that.
Yeah, I know. It's like the astronauts. We're trying to go into deep space with these guys. But how are you as we get into literally a month in of this competition?
Feeling great. Marvel Rivals has continued to impress. There's been a wide array of esports that we've been able to cover here on PIEA, specifically Rocket League yesterday. The competitions looked great. I mean, we had a fantastic best of 7 last night. If you want to go check it out, please do. Marvel Rivals is kind of in the throes in the heat of Marvel Rivals Ignite currently, and it just means that this was the kind of a time when competitors would either be watching or competing for professional spots in local events, and they would feel like that energy of the pro season's happening right now. We got to try to emulate the pros and be as good. So I'm expecting some very good gameplay today from Gateway. They're our number 3 squad overall ranked this season. They're on a hot streak as well. So I'm just expecting some really good mid-season Marvel Rivals, and knowing how the meta has evolved, we got a lot to talk about today.
It very much is. Right now, I think it's been about 2 or 3 weeks since the most recent actual balance patch. So things have calmed down, and players have decidedly kind of shifted between what they want to stick with, what they're going to try out. Daredevil saw themselves a blip on the radar, kind of like all our new heroes often do before they get their second patch buff. So for right now, there's been a lot of the same. You see a bit of magic, not as much as you see as Psylocke, and then Human Torch is gone to the bench. Feel like he's like, he was there, the Infernos were hot, and then they were not. So they've kind of walked into what fits them better. And sometimes that's a little bit of Iron Fist. I've seen actually them pop up in some big combination platters. But otherwise, this first one is going to be a Div 1 matchup. Teams trying to stay perfect in the way of Gateway Gators. They want to stay just as much so because we have 2 weeks left in this competition. But what has been kind of your mainstay hero that everyone's been picking into, regardless if the meta or the balance switches things up at all?
Well, it seems like every single school and student has been confident at least on Strange this year, and I know that is kind of a gimme. It's the fact that it is the number 1, number 2 choice behind Magneto for Vanguards. It's kind of the safety pick, and you have to be proficient in Strange, especially with portal plays late into rounds. So it's been nice to see that in terms of just digging into the bag, that Vanguards on every single team have been able to be proficient in that regard. But I am curious if the Psylocke will continue to get kind of relegated towards this either pocket comfort pick, or we want to mitigate the gank, so we're going to take Psylocke out of the equation, and like that is more of a specific target ban that we've seen from rosters over the season. And I think it was funny that you said earlier that the Daredevil had some vision for a couple of moments, which is hilarious. But look, it's I think that just in general, being able to have a strong front line can really mitigate most of the problems that would eventually trickle down to the rest of the team. And we've seen it all season with whether it was the Thing, Emma Frost for various high schools. If your front line crumbled, it didn't matter what your duelist or strategist was. There was really no way to win the game. So I'm just looking to see what that front line looks like today.
That's very true, and that kind of runs in line with basically the half MOBA style mentality that kind of walks in with your strategists. They, especially with plays like Mantis, which Mantis seems to be actually, she's surviving a lot more often. It used to be that I would walk a Wolverine straight into her and it's like, goodbye, see you later, get kidnapped and thrown off of anything and everything. But focusing on to kind of our picks and bans right now, there is a sincere focus of getting rid of what we know and trying to attempt what we don't. Jeff, Doctor Strange, out of the gate, gone. And Venom, kind of an interesting idea to get rid of them from the side of the Gators. They do not want him around, and that may be because of the prioritization of keeping in Magic. They want to be able to fight into that thick grouping and not be disrupted.
Yeah, and the fact that Cap has now kind of been pushed down towards like a B tier, lower A minus kind of dive, especially with how Venom has exploded between having synergies with Jeff. Cap has kind of fallen down a little bit. So we're seeing not that his skill can't keep up with the meta, but we're seeing more players elect to focus on playing Magneto, playing Emma, and because of that, they are saying if we're going to play dive, we're going to kind of funnel that through a character like Venom or somebody else like Magic. We're not going to really focus on Cap. So getting rid of Strange early and getting rid of Venom, I think it narrows down obviously the Vanguard pool for both these teams, but it also just does present a very simple playfield for the tanks up front of you know what you're going to get. You're going to get Emma Frost. You're going to get Magneto. If you do elect to play dive, you're going to have to kind of funnel that through your duelist and your strategist, whatever that combination looks like. So it's a very pretty typical ban and protect so far. There's nothing that's too dangerous that sticks out. Obviously, Hela can immediately be countered by Phoenix, so the hit scan is always going to be immediately in play. Psylocke is out for the first round. Namor as well. I think the biggest surprise really is that that Jeff is out this quickly, because it's not too shocking if you've been watching a lot of Marvel Rivals, but so many teams focus specifically lately on having Jeff Prio. So I am a bit surprised that this early they're like, nope, we're getting rid of Jeff. We don't want to deal with it. And fair play.
Yeah, there's also, I mean, you were talking in the green room just a little bit about this. We got to see the Emma Frost at least floated for a moment. They've gone over with Real Pup onto that Groot, but alongside of that Magic. And it felt like there's zero flyers for Gateway, so they're not going to try and at least take any level of the kind of high ground precedence or trying to be able to get from a hit scan from that perspective. So the Punisher is just flatline, going to be laying down Final Judgment onto anyone who's directly in a line in front of them. But they're going to be using that Scarlet Witch to really kind of impose their will, and that might be a big playmaking capability, especially as we start off here with the Gala Domination. It's the first station that you always hit when you go best of 3 here for PIEA, so let's run it down.
And Faltago is going to be either having a choice between doubling up on Eternal Bond or Final Judgment, and you do kind of get you do get a bit of a choice, I should say, from Blackout being able to copy. So it's either going to be Eternal Bond or doubling up on your heals. So there is some wiggle room here for Penn Trafford when it comes to how they want to approach strategists be strategists when it comes to the team fights. But for Gateway, the big question coming in is just how do they deal with the Scarlet Witch, because obviously Penn Trafford do not have Strange to get her in quickly, but it's still the corral effect that Scarlet Witch has after the buff. That is now a new factor that a defense has to worry about.
Everyone being brought in, it's like a little black hole, but what has actually become a black hole is where Groot is being able to hang people up. Goodbye, Scarlet Witch, just javelin down. That was by the main of the Magic, so that ends up being a full clear out by the Gators. Just as they have to basically solo their single Vanguard up into that lane, they're ready to be able to be bringing them in. They know that that wall will be tumbling down, so you're gonna presenting those walls up. So Penn Trafford, they were scooted away as if they were just a small rodent, and they were sent back.
And I love a lot of times we see when Groot starts to set up these walls, player asks, well, is it more about funneling, or are we just trying to keep numbers in front? Though they do go hand in hand. Again, you limit the amount of range that your DPS, that your Punisher can kind of maneuver into the point. So keeping things funneled into this chokehold for Gateway is not only a good defensive strategy, but offensively they can apply so much pressure in one isolated spot. And you see what's happening now. They're able to push back that front line, and because of it, they have gotten 45 points uncontested in the opening minute.
You might be able to get this one as a full sweep, and it looks like the way that this team has been acting so far is exactly why they are perfect throughout the first couple of weeks on the season. The Gateway Gators now with that Strangling Prison ready to utilize that, especially as everyone is slowly getting ready to go, especially I'm eyeing that Dark Child from Ace Detective if they're able to make that one work out. But as we get online right now with Chaoticness, they're having to deal with kind of just finding these little angles. There's not a lot being presented to the Penn Trafford Warriors initially. They have to be able to take this fight.
Yeah, and this is also a race against Gateway's Eternal Bond. If you're Penn Trafford, you're worried, of course, about the following rush down from a quick beat, but you also obviously concerned about the fact that if you go for this hit, you're going to be meeting the Strangling Prison very, very quickly. We'll see if Mantis comes into play soon, but again, time starting to dwindle away. 85 points on the board. When we get to the OT, we'll see what happens here.
Looks like they're just basically stuck at this wall. Everyone just having a conversation about it instead of using the fist that the heroes were born with. And so now, as they simply hang out into this singular funnel, overtime, it will even be ticked. They get one man on site. They're going to try and follow up. They're going to go short-sided for all of a moment. The Cloak and Dagger goes to the back line, but it's still Pop that just continues to be ready to go. They've got their ultimate, and that may be the final dagger that does it. They get a couple clear, and with both your strategists going down and your Punisher, that pretty much will seal the deal. We're in overtime status, 99%. The The rest has to tick out, and they're just waiting the rest of this one out. Penn Trafford absolutely staggered.
And Loki is ulted as well, so you might get 2 Dance of Both Worlds right on point, which again would just help to clear as they've got it in pocket. Nicely done by Gateway. They timed their staggered ults against Penn Trafford's once they found the initial investment. They waited for Loki to work alongside Luna. Once they got it, the Strangling Prison didn't have to do too much, and that wall blocked most of what the Scarlet Witch pull was going to give. So this was just really good timing all the way around. You get that front assault, that first push from Gateway, but controlling the pace, controlling kind of the synergies afterwards is a difference, a separation between teams that have been able to kind of figure out their rhythm as a roster and just have that experience at the competitive level. So Gateway very clearly establishing tempo and then controlling pace of play. Nicely done by staggering their ults together, timing it perfectly, and a very, very clean round 1 from Gateway.
Oh, completely. It was near flawless. Even if they just kind of dipped a toe in the water to get that overtime, it's 100-0. Penn Trafford will be coming up onto their final judgment for their Punisher, and you know that they want to see what kind of fight comes up first before they decide, you know what, let's just rip this Band-Aid off and go open, because you still have the Soul Resurgence and the Strangling Prison online ready to go. That carryover from round 1 into round number 2 is going to be a very heavy control from Gateway, but you can maneuver this one a little bit. The previous site, it is prone to basically being a full funnel if you kind of get your blinders up. We'll see if this one presents any other avenues.
And because it's basically control from here on out, I am curious if we see a little bit more roaming potential from Darkest Night. Because Iron Fist can go for chase downs so easily on backline, I am curious if you kind of open up that side of your second man, your third man, as you will, in this offense, and allow them to kind of disrupt, because that would be one of the best ways to invest in the Strangling Prison, but also to shut down a live flying healer in Ultron who can feed the final judgment. We'll see if Punisher can convert for any of this, but it's still, numbers remain up. There goes Punisher. All 6 are alive for Gateway. They have cleared off 2 different ults, worked through 3 different attacks, and they're just looking so clean on these hits.
It was that one particular ultimate just ripped out by Jake. Felt like it was more of like, all right, I need to maybe make something happen, but that was not the same kind of call that you would want from your team. You want them to kind of wrangle you in, go for not being staggered, bring you on back, and see if you can be able to enact off of that. Instead, exactly what you were talking about from Darkest Night, just able to go and make these little hallway battles so inconclusive from out of the Warriors. Penn Trafford and the gang, they do bring out the Jeff, so Lloyd Boy, see if they can maybe begin taking the Marvel Rivals mascot-esque situation and guide them in. Statons is going to be really close to being able to go full on, hit with fist, big haymakers, but still, there's a long way to go, and we're already near 50% here for the side of the Gators.
Yeah, once Gateway broke setup, their whole job now was to designate one person as that front push. That's Darkest Night, then scramble the retake opportunity. And that's what Gateway's doing really well, is you allow Iron Fist to go on the roam. You allow one of your front players in Gateway to go be a problem. And it's just extra variables that Penn Trafford have to deal with. Jeff is a great neutralizer. We'll see if Jeff can really make the most of this and kind of spits it right back into the swing of things. So Penn Trafford do invest a lot to find this opening break, but whether or not it does eventually lead into a stall on point has yet to be seen, because so far they've found no real estate back into this chokehold.
They got a Soul Resurgence that was used just to perfection. You're always going to have the Loki ultimate. You're so close to having yet another Strangling Prison. Gateway Gators are getting everything that they want. It's a Christmas time, and apparently they're the ones getting all the gifts. Oh, there they go. Being slapped down. Real Pup is going to have themselves an MVP performance with that Penta, as Penn Trafford is going to be staying all the way at back base. It's just a few percentage ticks before this one is done and dusted. Starting to see reasons why this team is currently perfect on the season. They're going to be perfect right now, so they take domination 2-up.
Yeah, this is a squad that not only has really good phasing in between their team fights, but they're sequencing between staggering their ults, recognizing who needs to take prio on the opening fight, who needs to go, if we're keeping it very layman's terms, who needs to go Roman challenge, or who needs to kind of set the tone up front, whether it is your Root Strangling Prison, whether it is Iron Fist, whether it is simply, poking at range with 3 strategists. You do have your Cloak and Dagger, you do have Mantis and Luna. Like, again, there is a safety net, the fact that you're Gateway and you have 3 strategists and you barely have to invest any of them defensively. There is no deterrence, there is no panic. It's just methodically laid out, and it's that sequencing, that phasing of, we saw in game 1, their team fights were very well structured and very intentful. There was a reason behind it, and Gateway were just very fundamentally clean in this one. It's tough to look at Penn Trafford and say anything too negative, because Gateway, just skill-wise, they had it figured out. They knew what they wanted to do.
They very much did, and sometimes the early domination is not their greatest measurement of what you got to accomplish, at least in the game of Marvel Rivals. And this is also our smallest sample size of all of the different esports titles that has been done for PIEA. But as its newest entrant, you're definitely witnessing who has done the homework early on to be prepared to this moment. As our awesome statisticians are able to give us the screenshots from the previous, looking over to literally Real Pup getting the Penta, getting 11 last hits. I mean, Groot is Groot, right? Blocking out 17,000 damage, going into the Soul Vanguard. But it was the ease of work done alongside Vile Dish that I think was just, they were keeping them so consistent. I think you do that with a Mantis all the time. And then between Ace Detective, who I've gotten to see play in previous weeks, so just clinical. And with Darkest Night onto the Iron Fist, I mean, it does not matter if it's all Fist and Fury and Melee. They actually cut down through the squad of Penn Trafford. So we're going to be on a Convoy in lieu of a Convergence for that hybrid style. So, I mean, what could shift around? Their ending heroes don't really indicate what was being done throughout that fight. Like, what's the shift here? What do we want to see different?
I think it's two things. One, looking at the fact that Ace Detective is 19-0, a very quiet, and this is being loose, a very quiet 19 kills. What does that tell you about the game? It means that while it wasn't an over distraction from Magic, it was clearly enough that the weak links that exist for Penn Trafford were being exploited by that Magic. It was just consistent execution for Magic, which means that clearly when it comes to their midsection as like an organism, their midsection as a team, as a roster, it's getting picked apart a little too cleanly. That's why Magic 19-0. And though it doesn't feel like a lot in the team fight, that adds up. It's a death by 1,000 cuts. And then I look also over towards the fact that you had one final hit on the entire side for Faltago, who was again playing Luna. And though it didn't really come down to, I guess, the picks themselves, it does indicate at least a little bit, just composition wise, if one team's starting to settle a bit ahead, maybe you do need to fall back into those comfort picks to at least keep the game grounded enough to jump up and meet the challenge. Because it did feel like it wasn't even a matter of composition difference. It was just they were getting out, their abilities were getting outplayed constantly. And I think even parity matches, while pro players hate it, there is validity to playing mirror matches. There is validity to having parity on the field because it just gives you a more equal footing to compete. So I think honestly, like keeping the game more simple, just getting back to what they know. I don't know if it was different picks, but clearly they were being exploited, and that 19-0 Magic very quietly got 19 kills, and we didn't have to talk about it too much. And that says a lot about the fact that it was a very quiet desolation of that midline. So I'm very curious what we'll get going in. Again, we could shake it up and completely change things in the ban and picks. I'd love to see that, but luckily for them, there is only room to improve after that first game. So
that's very true. Yeah,
let's go.
And do we shift away from any of the bans? I guess because that will be part of our main prerogative forthcoming. Does the Magic have to go away? You're like, you know what? Need none of that. Let's go for that. Or is that all of a decoy? I've seen some teams just kind of play whole-handedly and have a strong showing into that first domination map, make everyone focus on, oh, we need to get rid of the Magic. We need to get rid of the Psylocke, the way too much. And it was all of a mind game because their true main was actually going into the Convergence or to the Convoy. Do they focus into that? Do they still just simply play into the ones that they banned out before?
I think it's simply, are you confident enough in Penn Trafford to call the bluff? If you are, there is, from the information you have available to you right now, there is no reason to suspect that it is a trap card. There's no reason to suspect that they're trying to bait you into the ban. So take advantage of it, get off the board, and try to force their hand for them to show what they're going to bring to the table. Otherwise, like this is a very 50-50. It's either you trust yourself and your team fundamentally in Marvel Rivals to be able to take care of the Magic and then deal with whatever comes next. If you don't, then I would say then bet against yourself in a weird way. Keep the Magic on the field, but try to take prio on something else. If you think, hey, we were getting kind of bullied by the Iron Fist, or we didn't like the fact that they had Groot, make it simple. Take Groot out of the play. Just keep it simple. If you can trust your team, there is credence to getting rid of the Magic. But it really comes down to, what does Penn Trafford feel like they can get away with? Because if they feel like they can't compete, but they can stay close, that's a different conversation than them thinking they're just one or two changes away from winning it all. It really comes down to whether or not they feel like they can really skate alongside Gateways. So if I'm them, I am probably saying, let's get rid of the Groot. Just because in terms of completely removing any chance for the thing to have an impact, yes, there was issues with your sideline. Yes, there was issues with the second and third man. But you need your tank to at least be present. And so that's, if I'm Penn Trafford, I'm getting rid of the Groot and saying, you got to beat me with Magneto or Strange. One of the two.
And we also might see maybe the novelty nonsense happen because we are going to go over to Midtown, and there is some good fun that comes with Wolverine. Maybe it comes about.
Oh, not
maybe
the fastball special.
Well, fastball being thrown off the side, why not? That's been used all the time. Also, if you go with this guy, if you're gonna be shout out to my man, but if you're gonna be sticking with the Punisher, I want them to have that for that full team communication to if Final Judgment's being ripped out, to be able to, peel away some of those bigger ultimates, a Soul Resurgence, and not having any other support. If you just fully expose all the big guns, that's fantastic. But if you're the only guy standing and you're using your ultimate, you're going to be Dunskies. It doesn't matter. You're going to get folded like a lawn chair. So make sure that that's happening. There's also this guy. There's also good old Loki, my man. Yeah, he's able to make just an entire team just quiver because of the ultimates that he's able to go and repeat. So I feel like seeing that doubled up might be how you rip away from this, and also maybe get out of your comfort zone when it comes to Punisher. I actually like playing a bit of Winter Soldier onto Midtown. I know I'm a weirdo for that. That's okay.
No, I love that pick. Yes,
yeah, he's fun. He's mobile. He's able to just do damage.
He is so good, especially the first point on Midtown. He is so good at being able to counter gank from Thing, or like even when Blade rarely gets pulled out on this map. Like he's a great little stabilizer. He's like a palate cleanser for an offense. And honestly, if you're coming into this and you are playing Punisher, you're absolutely right. Like, you have to do more than either panic push your ult or use it as deterrence. It needs to be kind of the first boulder down the hill for the rest of the ult investment, for the rest of your team to push point. Because we saw it last round where it was late investment, it was a late pop, he was isolated, and the Final Judgment doesn't really do anything because you're playing a 1v6 at that point. The Final Judgment should be your knockout swing instead of your opening contact with the play. And it's just, those are the small things where, it was timing, it was differences in specialist staggering for Gateway. But Penn Trafford, those are variables they can control. They can control when they invest their ults and when they combo off each other. That needs to be a priority going into this because you have the win conditions. You have Final Judgment. You have the right pieces in play. You just have to know when to put them together and when to do that. And this is a great map to do it because there's so many different ways you can use different characters to create space for a character like Punisher to find success. So this is going to be a real testament to just fundamental skill, fundamental competency in the game itself. Do Penn Trafford recognize how they're going to play offensively? And if they do, this is going to be a very fun series to get into. And I'm very excited to see what we do get as quickly they get rid of Penny, get rid of Iron Fist. That's smart. You never want to deal with the Penny Mines with Rocket now, of course, being an addition. I think getting rid of Iron Fist is just we'll protect our backside. We'll try to keep things in front. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a solid idea. This is also the starting attack from the side of the Gators, and they know the prioritization. They might have been listening to us. I know that they weren't because I think we're on like some kind of minute and a half delay. So they did, in fact, get rid of the Winter Soldier. They don't want to have any of that capability, especially off of the the Goddess of Death from Hela. So they get rid of him and them, as well as Namor. And Namor has actually been so strong on some of these very just thin line scoped funnel points. So that's a solid get. Horn of Proteus, not going to be an issue at this point in time. And kind of maintaining to have the Mantis. I feel like that's an odd kind of safety pick when you can be able to prioritize most anything else, because I feel like Mantis was going to be available anyway, especially with the way that the Gators were going for it. But they're looking at having Strange, and they want to have their magic. So Dark Child's sent through portals. That's going to be a scary backline to have to deal with.
Maybe I'm reading this wrong from Gateway, but the Hela and Namor ban to me just reads as, we don't want to deal with cheesy synergies from Penn Trafford. We don't want to deal with Hell Squids. And that's a fair play, because when it comes to just brute strength, that is the denominator that won them the first game. And if Gateway's saying we want to beat you up front, mano-y-mano, then you don't want to deal with tight corridors and Namor, and you don't want to deal with Hela hit scan. So fair enough. You're taking away synergies not only from yourself, but saying we are limiting the options you have to poke for damage at range, specifically for Penn Trafford. And if it comes down to just wall-to-wall team fights, who are we looking at to kind of lead the bulk of that conversation? It has been Gateway. So this is, to me, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, but just so far I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, clearly they're saying we're going to limit the cheese that's available, and we're just going to beat you with our picks that we know we can work with. And Penn Trafford now have the responsibility of saying, all right, can you match that bravado? Can you match it with Daredevil, which is a very specific choice on this map? Can you match it with Dive from Venom? This is going to be a very interesting game of two tanks, a solid DPS choice from Penn Trafford, but that Rocket is going to have to put in work, specifically when it comes to BRB beacons, trying to get Daredevil and Venom back in. Venom is the disruptor of tempo. You have to make sure Rocket has a big impact here on this game.
If you've ever wanted to see strong women doing strong things, well, Angela's going to be out here. So Real Pup has decided that if they're not going to get to play Groot, then you're going to be facing a couple of Valkyries. So that's going to be a fun thing to have to deal with. And all of a sudden, stuck in a corner, Venom having to deal with sending as many tentacles as possible just to be able to live. They get at least a tiny bit of heal, but that dot or that hot goes away instantly. So Gateway will lose out to, well, maybe just like that corner fight, but Jake actually is still up in a corner. Thea just chilling? Are they lagging out?
I think we might have a quick reset. I think we're gonna figure out what's going on. I was like, that is a very specific bait to get the Venom to walk up on you like that. I don't know.
Venom.
Like, I've been Invisible Woman, and I know it's like you want to pull them in and get behind spawn screen so you can just get the health back, but that is a very deliberate choice. But again, the point being of looking at this where BRB Beacon does matter because one, your Venom is your primary damage soak, but two, if your Venom spending most of their time on the ground, that's not ideal. You want them to be disrupting that tempo in the air, especially against a enemy Angela. So this is going to be a battle between the top two tanks. It's going to be a battle between Angela controlling that low ground, taking away your options up front and playing Peel, and Venom trying to respond and get some aerial game. So it's going to be a really good match between these two. But so far, Gateway has just controlled the lane.
Gateway so far making some of that progress as they have to take 2 separate checkpoints before that third one lights up at the very end of the road. It looks like Angela's actually finding a lot of down and distance as they're isolating a few of these extra fights, and it is such a pesky style of Vanguard. You can get in, get out, you can go all the way back. It's exactly what you actually want your Venoms to actually do. They're actually doing so within that one hallway as they are just approaching to this first checkpoint, Blackout into the deep dive, finding themselves being shot from behind, so they're going to try and mitigate some of that as they get all healed up and ready to go. You still have the Sia that's up here from Chaoticness, and well, now you can just go smashing if you really need to, and they need a lot of that shielding if they're going to survive this, but they've already gotten over the checkpoint point, so maybe Penn Trafford backs this one up.
But they only have one heal up. If they're going to invest the Cosmic Yarn, it's kind of the time to do it. It's a last-ditch attempt. Desperately need Invisible Bound. You will start to slow again that front line, and now the gank does happen. It's a chase down again from Thing, which led way to the Gateway Peel, where Angela finds really the most success against Daredevil. There's not much reconnaissance he has to be able to counter some of those late blows, and this is another instance where once Penn Trafford recognized they had to use their ults just for defense, Gateway said, we're going to push the pace, we're going to up the tempo, and focus on Peel. They get exactly what they wanted on zone, and they completely dominated LOS. We saw it earlier with Angela peeling off both Rocket and Daredevil. They wanted to focus away on splitting up that heal. Once they got it, the entire front line for Penn Trafford started to break a little bit, and you give them an inch, they take a mile. Gateway did a phenomenal job.
You're going to see 2 activation states that are really in play in favor, especially this next choke point for the side of the Gators, because you either have the Eye of Agamotto or you're the Heaven's Retribution to be able to just shut everything down to a slow. They're going to use 1 extra to just start pushing their way in, and that's exactly where it comes from. Heaven's Retribution has been utilized. Darkchild's probably on its way in just all of a moment. The Doctor Strange opening portals as fast as I can be able to open my mouth as they continue to push them through the double doors. Gateway is getting everything they want, and that's Dead Warriors of Penn Trafford.
And if Iron Fist was a bluff, your follow-up is Black Panther. I mean, talk about an even more difficult matchup. It's just these are the separations where, again, you can only play with so much information that was available in that first game. You can only make the right call with the info you got. But it does speak credence to the depth of the bag that Gateway can jump into. They can grab into Black Panther. They can dive into Angela. And it's worked. It's just been relentlessly efficient and fundamental Marvel Rivals. Penn Trafford have looked really, really solid in some of these close quarters engagements, some of these contests. But those small cracks that exist, Gateway has exploited. They have completely amplified those mistakes and taken advantage of the space. I mean, they have so much real estate on the map.
They're able to do pretty much anything that they want now. They've been hidden away into these key crevices as they use that quick teleport again. Magic is throwing a giant sword and they're cutting down foes. Jake is going to go down. That's not what you want to see immediately out the gate. Blade is exactly not making his greatest standoff there, but they will eventually get the Darkchild run up now here from the Gators as damage galore begins anew. You will also get the Eye of Agamotto to make those targets stand stock still, soulless and more as they cut through more than half of the Warriors.
And you're getting closer and closer to your Luna ult as well, which is just resource management at the end of the day. It is a safety net, insurance policy for a zone push. It is the last push up to P3, and just a couple of seconds away from closing out this first round. Gateway have looked so dang good all day today, and they do it here once again. 3 points uncontested on the board. Penn Trafford had 1 or 2 really good strong holds on P2. After that broke, it was basically a when, not if. It just felt like Gateway were running away with steam, and they completely dominated the front line.
You know, it just makes sense that the last little bobblehead that I had on my desk was in fact the Black Panther. So, you know,
I think that's a very good sign for things to come for sure.
All right, well, Gateway making D1 look like all theirs and trying to join the likes, I think, of CB South into the top undefeated squads. They would actually be directly tied with them at 3-0 and 6-1. But there's still a series to be played and maybe some antics to be found. Penn Trafford getting bowled over quickly, and it was a 300 game for the Gators. Their defense is going to shift things around. Real Pup, they go away from the Angela. Don't have to kind of be that main, you know, wombo combo alongside the Dark Child or otherwise. They're going to be off that Venom, which I feel like is going to be such a great harassing vanguard to really make Penn Trafford stutter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm agreeing both with you and the emote as well. But yes, absolutely. And this is going to be a just pure test of efficiency, proficiency, I should say, versus proficiency of Gateway. Like, both Venoms going at it. We're going to switch over to the Thing. Fair, but this is, again, like, you know what you're going to get from Gateway. If Penn Trafford's POV, they know exactly what to expect. This is, again, putting pressure on Squirrel Girl to say, whether it's at range or whether it's behind your front line, working alongside your second strategist, you need to have an impact. You need to be able to land those shots, because that is really the biggest damage buff you have as a team, is working through that Squirrel Girl. And if she doesn't connect for a lot, you're putting so much pressure on Daredevil and so much reliance on Ultron to have to make up the space.
It's also a difficult character that they've nerfed in terms of distance and damage. They actually wanted to squeeze a lot of these fights down by several different meters. So Squirrel Girl used to be very strong, especially just to be able to kind of plink a single line of sight. Now you have to kind of work and go find those headshots a little bit more actively. Staten's onto the Daredevil. That'll be our first entry to see them actively here. So we'll find out if they can maybe push a little bit more to this card. But this tight corner hold, it's a great, at least, beginning for the Gateway Gators. It's such a hard entry for all of Penn Trafford to see what their targets are going to be, but it looks like it's time to throw hands as Rice Crisis is just diving in, and they're chopping them down.
Oh, the solos are getting strange. I mean, once people figured out you could spam the melee, it's been a very different meta for Strange for the past 2 months. It has just been consistent as ever. Beautiful redirection of that dark energy, and 3 more dead. I mean, Invisible Boundary is just kind of like an ego pop there, but it is a question for sure of, like, does Daredevil continue to be the play? Because you could make the argument, well, we have Rocket available, but it doesn't really work on offense as easily as it does on defense in contact, in combo with Penny. But the Daredevil does not take up as much space as the likes of a different duelist would, like a Spider-Man, which is still very low in the health column, but gives you a little bit more freedom in the air. It does call into question for Penn Trafford, how deep do they go? Is this enough to be able to get through this front line? Because so far, they're not making a lot of progress through this 3v3, and they need to find a pin.
Use those 2 walking sticks to see if they can just kind of land some contact, get some echolocation working. And it does look like they are at least getting some of these health bars to go down, but not before eating the bricks on the wall nearby. Ultron with Jake actually switching between their roles. They had been onto that main of Vanguard for a while. Now they're onto the strategist, seeing if they can just provide any level of support from up high. But Penn Trafford, they're consistently fighting into basically 2 versus 5. Gateway has kept this one static. They're going to go to the Abyss. They're going to chop down. They get about halfway down into the Thing, and still the rest is just there to be eaten up.
I mean, look how much attention that Abyss pulled. It's 4v1. And yeah, you're just trying to soak for damage, but I mean, this is perfect execution from Gateway. If you're playing a game of Marvel Rivals, whether it's a tournament, it's ranked, whatever it is, this is what you would hope happen. We want full attention on Venom. We want everybody else to be able to sit behind and just pepper for damage and play poke, because you don't need to get on the point to contest. You got minute 15, got everything situated for both the setup for the mid-round between this team fight and just keeping yourself healed up. I mean, Invisible Woman's done her job of barely getting scraped at all. Aya Bakamoto, just a stun. This is textbook execution down to the wire for Gateway. They look flawless.
Looking like exactly how they've been so far for the first 3 weeks. We may be seeing ourselves in a collision course between them and the top echelon, and just cleaning up the rest. I've not seen the good doctor do surgery like that in a long time, but when the hands finally get on you, you're going to see some work. Trying to just keep up the shield for as long as it can. That stun ends up saving them. They go earthbound, and otherwise, oh my goodness, the big sword comes through, and they said the doctor will be in.
No, that's 2 invisible boundaries in a minute. That is 1, just feeding the ults of Gateway, and 2, the knock up into the invisible boundary to keep the strange pressure is, it's insult to injury. I think that's the only way I can put it there. It's just you get so close, you work so hard, you come so far, and you get rewarded with an invisible boundary that completely nullifies your efforts. This has been perfect play from Strange. The difference in the game, the Invisible Woman has just kind of been there, just a high five and hang out. And clearly it's enough for Gateway right now, as they only need a couple of more contests in a 2v1 to close out that front thing, to close out the penny, and they'll take this game and this series.
Unless I back a moto for the road? Yeah, why not? Okay. Knockout 1. This is the knockout punch.
Oh my goodness.
2-0, maybe straight away. They're just close enough to the actual spawn point that it's becoming more of a nuisance than anything. But Penn Trafford will not go down without it being a solid fight. A quad kill right now for Rice Crisis. Trying to see if he can full clear everyone that's left on the board. A couple extra from off of your Invisible Woman. The Gateway Gators, they get the job done. A 3-0 here on Convoy. A 2-0 in the match. And they will be 3-0 here for the first 4 weeks of play.
And I think that there are silver linings, as always, with these kinds of games, knowing that Penn Trafford, look, their picks weren't bad in this matchup. It is just a very old-fashioned esports moment of one team is a couple of steps ahead and a little bit of a different level than Penn Trafford. And that's okay, because it's a way for this squad to get better. It's a way for them to see high proficient gameplay in very structured, organized, clean, fundamental Marvel Rivals, which is, again, is something that should not be taken for granted. But for Gateway, this was kind of a day in the office, a walk in the park. There isn't too much for them to take away from this matchup. For Penn Trafford, I'm more just focused on, now that you've seen how clean the offense can look, how clean those synergies can come into contact, and how you can combo off of your tank into your strategist, into your dive. If I'm Penn Trafford, I walk away with this knowing, yes, we get kind of beat. I love when my face is frozen. Yes, we get kind of beat, but though we did get beat, there was so much information we can gather about how to play the game better that is just always a positive. So I hope they can take that away for sure. But Gateway, I mean, undefeated for a reason. That team is disgusting.
They are gross. I think I saw, what was it, 44-0 out of Rice Crisis, and they had originally shifted off of being a strategist for that Luna Snow to go over to the Doctor Strange when they were doing the solo Vanguard. So a lot of good looks from the squad, who continues to play perfect and be perfect for Penn Trafford. Like you mentioned, there's some stuff to learn. I think Chaoticness ended up showing some flexibility in their role as a duelist. I just want to find them acting with that on a team actionable ultimate style. I feel like the Squirrel Girl was good, but there's maybe something that could help the holistic squad overall that could make that a little bit better. Also, welcome back from Frozen.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, it was fun looking like I had a stroke there for a second, but yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It just like, I think that's a good way to put it, is a really great holistically, there are levels to the entire composition of the team. It's one of the beautiful things about Marvel Rivals and superheroes in general in this kind of game, is that you can have those conversations about holistically, what do the matchups look like, what are the combos and synergies, what do they bring. There's so much depth and availability for Penn Trafford moving forward, that if they can just focus on what synergies work, what combinations can bring them to the finish line and kind of mitigate some of those stumbles in the opening push, they can turn this around. And that's the beauty of this game. So I'm very excited to see what they do moving forward. But Gateway, one of the only teams undefeated in this season, and number 3 for a reason. They're going to be making a run for top 2 for sure.
We're going to see how that one goes in 2 more weeks for them. But hey, 2 more matches left for us today. If you thought that was over, no. We've got plenty left on the docket. We've got Elizabethtown Area High School going against Hempfield High. So you don't want to miss out. More PIEA going to Division 2 right after this short break.
shaking underneath, trying to take me alive. Get ready for the fallout. Can't stop me now. I got no rival. I'ma find my way through the blood and pain game of survival. Anytime. watch them run away. I got none. I'll be standing on my own, never gonna take my throne. I got no rival, watch them run away. I got no, I got no rival. Tell me now, what you gonna do? We can do this face to face. The reckoning is coming real soon. Doesn't matter what you say. Try to tell you this is my moment. Can't take mine 'cause I own it. Don't you know that I locked and unloaded? You're out of focus. Get ready for the fallout. Can't stop me now. I got no rival. I'ma find my way through the blood and pain game of survival. Any time or place, watch 'em run away. I got no. I'll be standing on my own, never gonna take my phone. I got no rival. Watch 'em run away. I got no, I got no rival. All I wanna do is to put my arms around you and watch these moments fall back into place. All I wanna do is to make you stop and love me. How can I be blue when you catch me in these feelings like okay. I love you, I do need you, I do, I do need you. I love you, I do need you. Oh, I love you, I do need you. Oh, I love you, I do need you, I do, I love you, I do need you. I love you, I do need you. Oh, I love you, I do need you. chemical pills that push me over. I kill my fill 3 times a day. These ethanol fumes won't make me sober. One flame to take the pain away. I caught you lighting matches in the back room. Haters look mad when they pass you. Let's talk about around when it's past due. Reach a glass, do no. You don't gotta fight alone. You don't gotta fight alone. Don't be so personal. Take me out of the I'm going under. Take me out of the Everyone's seen death in their dreams.
Have you ever fist fought a comet? Well, you're about to get a chance to see how that goes down. I'm Hell Monkey Man alongside Spaceman as we get into match number 2 on the day. In case you were here before break, I lied to you, and I am sorry. Halloween is around the corner. That means my brain gets spooky, Spaceman.
Yeah.
But we're running it back, but somehow with less, as we're bringing Penn Trafford back as they're going against Penn Manor.
Yeah, fist fighting a comet down 1 is always going to be it's a tall order for any kind of superhero for sure. But this is going to be a challenge, less so in the conversation of who wins this series, unfortunately, because just man disadvantage Marvel Rivals doesn't matter the team or who you are. That is a hurdle that is impossible to overcome at times. But I am curious, because it's going to be a 5v6 for Penn Trafford, do we see a change up in what our composition looks like? And I think it should. Like, do we need to stick to our 2 Vanguard, 2 strategists? Why not go 3 strategists, 2 duelists, 2 or 3 strategists, a duelist, a Vanguard? Like, let's get a little creative. I want to see how deep Penn Trafford can go with this one. Playing Penn Manor, obviously Penn Manor at the moment sitting seating-wise higher than Penn Trafford. Penn Trafford, though, just got one of the best warm-ups they really could have gotten, which was against a very technically proficient squad in Gateway. And I hope they can take that to heart and use that as good formula, as good engine material, whatever the hell that word is, as we move forward into our picks and bans, and use it as a launch pad into this series, and we'll see what they elect to do. But this is a test for them to get creative, and I want to know what they got.
Hopefully it does not become Coughing Baby versus Gibbs on land. Get to see if this one becomes something different. Penn Trafford, I would think the 2-2-1 is going to be standard for duelists, strategists into a single Vanguard, but hey, run it as you will. You know you're at a disadvantage. They're also showcasing something different. They got a couple strategists, 3 duelists on the other side. So just foregoing having anything of a thick man and going instead for full firepower, especially with maybe the repeat of the God of Mischief from off of Blackout. So maybe that'll change some stuff.
I love that their first choice was get Groot out of here immediately. Just get it. And
No
different
love.
matchup for sure, but it is that is a team that has been tested, has some PTSD, some war flashbacks, because that Groot was doing damage. And though the Strange kind of put up a run for their money in that last round, I think getting the Groot out quickly is a very good choice. They're going to save the Scarlet Witch. It'll be fun to see if they can invest that more. And I think if you're running Scarlet Witch, especially down a man, your only choice for Vanguard now has to be Strange. Like, just to protect yourself late game and also give yourself the best chance to get the ult off for Switch. I mean, you have to.
Yeah, I can see that. I also wouldn't be surprised if... Yep, there it is!
Oh my god.
I was like, okay, they're gonna ban him instead. So the hate watch is real from out of the Warriors. Not gonna deal with any of that from Vanguards across from them. And instead they're gonna post up with the potential to bring in a Venom if they really wanna. And for the side of Penn Man, they're like, okay, well, sure, I guess we'll Emma Frost, maybe.
Yeah, at this stage, you have Magneto, Emma Frost, and Venom that are open. They'll get rid of some really good backline dive, which I think is important. Again, now that Penn Manor has seen what the field looks like, low Vanguard status, the rest of your options basically should be, okay, well, now we want to protect our DPS and our strategists. And that means getting rid of players like Black Panther, getting rid of Iron Fist, should you choose to go that route. I think that's a smart choice from Penn Manor. Though they have 6 players in this, you're still going to protect what you can. Get Luna in as well, and we will ban out the Thing. So again, we are really crunching down the wire here when it comes to what Vanguards will exist on the map. It is going to be Magneto or Emma Frost. That's it. And we know that Emma Frost, in terms of crowd control, yes, Sonic Seduction, also Diamond Form, can absolutely decimate a front line. Like, more so than what we saw from Strange earlier. So if Penn Trafford can't deal with the Emma Frost, it's going to be a tough one.
To say the least. So can anything occur for the side of Penn Trafford now fighting down a man? It would actually be such an impressive feat considering what they ran into just a little bit ago against Gateway, who now sits tied atop of the standings with the side of Central Bucks South, to pull this off. And really looking at it, this is a squad out of Penn Manor. They've gone 2-0, 2-0, and they have a 1-2 loss. So still pulling off at least a game win amidst their best of 3 to be at 2-1. So they know how to get the job done and also last a long while. Penn Trafford, I mean, for us, like you said at the very beginning of all this, it's a tough measurement of winning the series. I just want them to be able to start experimenting and see maybe what sticks.
Well, I'm looking at the choice of Lethal Lloyds to stick with Cloak and Dagger, which again, at the end of the day, is the right call. But we can jump into the weeds of this conversation a little bit, which again, whether we see the impacts of it late game is yet to be decided. Choosing escapability is also a very good variable for Penn Trafford, knowing that you're playing against a Magic, knowing that you're playing against a Hela. And if I'm playing Magic already down a man, I might be considering the Invisible Woman, given that you get some escapability with both Invis and the Boundary Push. Because Cloak and Dagger doesn't give you the same kind of Shroud jump that Loki gets on the Shift, I'm curious if that is going to last as a strategist pick, simply because Magic can pick that apart all day, every day. And I'm curious if Invisible Woman will eventually get a second look.
May end up seeing just one whirlwind dash come out of this sword, just chopping through him. And again, isolated fights. You fight down a man, and with the way that they were playing separated from one another, that presented such an ease of use case for Penn Manor. The Comets didn't have to do too much more than find one isolated hero after another, open up the site, and pretty much kind of just guide their way to victory. It was basically handheld high fives with each other. Like, okay, well, we got it. Okay, let's start getting some percentage points.
I'm thinking about also the Vanguards that now exist too, and we have Venom, we have Magneto, and I think we have Penny Parker, and that's basically it. So, as well as Emma Frost. So if you are Penn Manor defensively, your options are wide if you want to continue rocking Rocket, because you can get the synergy with the mines with Penny Parker. So there's a lot here for Penn Manor to really change up the game plan and throw curveballs at Penn Trafford. For Penn Trafford, it can't just kind of be fastballs down the plate. We need to see them start to dive a little bit deeper into their picks themselves and use those abilities to create some space, because so far, again, the chase down onto Cloak and Dagger is pretty indicative of the lack of opportunity, the lack of real estate that Penn Trafford can take up on the map. And I'm curious about, again, that sustainability, that escapability that we see from the likes of Invisible One, from very briefly a Loki, that is going to be tougher to relegate for Penn Manor, as so far they've kind of done what Gateway did, where won the opening fight, allow Magic or Iron Fist to go for the roam, and from there, control the spawn point. And it's been chokehold after chokehold, domination after crowd control. Penn Manor are just doing what they look like they want to.
Yeah, and Jake has played similar to what a lot of players do as kind of a desperation move to go and get what you have off of a Wrecking Ball, try to back cap, see if anything persists from there. Rusty onto this Hela. Well, they find a double. Now on the follow-up, I love the emos that they've added for finding those KOs as well. Little GIFs. I know that Jeff finds himself in basically all of our hearts. But a quick one, Hundo, here for round number 1. Trying to set the land speed record on the side of the Comets to maybe get this one done quickly. Penn Trafford, obviously, like, what do you do from a coaching standpoint, from kind of a team standpoint? You got rocked just a series ago, and now you have to do it at a disadvantage.
Well, you're down a number, so obviously that is an impossible variable to not think about. It is an impossible hurdle to not have to contend with. But a good coach, and this is not speaking to anybody specifically, this is like, if we're looking at the bare bones how competition should work, a good coach, a good IGL, and good communication from a team means that if you're down a man, you still play within the confines of the roster you have. You still play through the structured fundamentals that exist. So if that is 2 strategists, 2 duelists, and a vanguard, or 3 strategists, a duelist, and a vanguard, yes, you're down, but it doesn't mean that the math can't still add up. It doesn't mean that you can't still create pressure or offense or any kind of game plan. So I know that they're probably feeling frustrated. Yes, they're down. They're playing a team that's so far been dominating a lot of the pressure time. But if I'm Penn Trafford, I am, as a coach, honing in on what our composition is and trying to get our team to focus on the fundamentals of the team fight itself. And I'm turning this into we need to come out and prove that our fundamentals, for lack of a better term at this point, are strong. We need to prove that even on a man down, we know what we're doing on the field, because so far it's just been a little too easy to pick apart. And Penn Manor, again, just find themselves on the point with 0 contests.
They're playing with massive gaps in the linings between the armor right now. Penn Trafford. And I actually did not, and I do not dislike what they brought out as some of these early picks for the second round, because if you can be able to activate from off of the Heaven's Retribution from that Angela, get that done for then the butterfly dance, you're actually seeing some great looks. Unfortunately, they're fighting into 1 versus numbers, and then when they're not, I mean, there are 6 ultimates ready to go from Out of the Commons. The entire precedence of whatever they want to do can be done, and this could be a beastly abyss from out of S-Man, trying to just deep dive them, and they find them.
Yeah, that's I'll wait for the heals all day, every day. I don't care if the strategist peels away. I don't care if they take control of the right side of the map. If you're Venom, you're doing your job to perfection, which is disrupt, dive, and dissociate the defense. It's been perfect so far. Cosmic Yarn will basically nullify the Angela ult, and because it does, again, puts us in a position where we're sitting on 5 ults to burn for Penn Manor. Basically all security investments that will pay dividends late into this round. 58 points and counting. No contests onto the zone. Penn Trafford just trying to break out the spawn here, and I'm not sure if it's going to happen this time.
It's a tough situation, having to deal with personnel, having to deal with players, and I mean, you're just looking to whatever level of execution inspiration be brought into maybe next week or late term into the convoy. That will be forthcoming here into game number 2, because right now domination has been dominant from the Comets, as this is not a Haley situation, see you every 50 years. It is see you every maybe 15 seconds in the way that they have to go directly from out of spawn and meet the mighty Mitts, especially with the way S-Man is kicking butt.
Yeah, and these situations, when you're down, both numbers disadvantage, but also in this game state, it's never really, at this point, it's not so much on the backs of the DPS. It is pretty much on, in a perfect world, your strategists and your vanguards will be able to kind of reset the tempo and cleanse that palette. This time, though, it doesn't matter if you switch to 3 DPS. There's not a whole lot you can do with this position on the map, with this little resources from your ults. It's just, you're kind of weathering the storm. You kind of have to absorb the damage, unfortunately. Like, it's just, GG's go next. It's a tough one for sure, but we get a different game mode, a different chance to play through team fights and not so much domination going into convoy. Hopefully, Penn Trafford can then use that as a launch pad for better things. But this was, kind of tough to break down because there isn't a whole lot to talk about. It was just 1 break, 1 control, dominate zone, or dominate spawn, isolate the healer, GG's. That's it at the end of the day. So it was a very clean win from Penn Manor. I'd be a little shocked if they didn't kind of handle it the way they did.
Yeah, and this is also not one that you really sit too hard on. If you're going to go War Room style, look at it in film, VODs, anything, because I mean, you already know what the asterisk will be in the stack column for both sides across from this. There was no kills from the Penn Trafford Warriors, so okay, all right, fine. Convoy requires itself to at least have one side go for 4 minutes and see if they can kind of break through that same thrust of being stuck into spawn and see if you can be able to just move out. It ends up being how kind of high school does. This happens also into tournament play, so this is not an unknown and uncommon situation. And you also have kids that have homework to do. That's scholastic.
Been there.
That's the esports side of things. You're like, all right, well, I got to go either play soccer, I got to get ready for my homework just on the other side. So Penn Trafford does have to kind of finish this out, go over into convoy. Not to say that it's a given, but I mean, with the way Penn Manor was playing, the ESPN meter just kind of it's to the nth level. Yeah.
This is to kind of again hit on that point. This is even if the outcome feels predetermined, if you're Penn Trafford, again, you're still getting it, and because Convoy, the way it exists by the state of the game, the rules themselves, you're getting a chance to have an at bat. You're at least getting a chance to go up and swing the bat. So if you're going to get that chance to go up and try to make contact, go make contact. Whether or not you hit it into the outfield, whether or not you get thrown out, doesn't matter. Go put the ball in play. And if that means we're just going to focus on, yes, we've lost one of our strategists in this, but we can fall back to a team of 5 and maybe focus on for lack of a better term, like a 2-minute offense. We're going to focus on what we have with limitations. That's what hopefully their coach, or I would say their IGL, should be focusing on. Of it might be predetermined, but it doesn't mean we can't go out there and put some contact and swing the bat. So I hope that they can go into Convoy recognizing they have a round for free that they can take advantage of. And should they take advantage of it, this is a chance to really show us what you got. Is it a daredevil play again? Is it staying with the Angela? Is it changing up the way we want to play Venom? Because so far they've picked Venom 3 straight rounds, for lack of a better term, in these games, and there hasn't been that much of an impact on dive alone, let alone on damage. So you have room here to play Thing, to play Magneto, to play Strength. You have room to change it up. I just want to see what you got. For Penn Manor, I mean, it's just don't mess up. Like don't do anything wrong, and you'll probably be okay. So yeah, there's definitely room here for Penn Trafford to surprise us for sure.
I'm actually going to show you exactly what they got. I have it right here. Okay.
Oh God.
So here we go. It's right here. Right here. Nothing. They have actually forfeited out after domination. So kind of understood. I get it. No reason to cause any more rifts. Soccer practice, maybe SpaghettiOs are ready to go. So I completely understand. I would prioritize that if I didn't have my 6 teammate. So that means that this one will be a 2-0, an asterisk in the column. Kind of like, all right, we've learned our lesson. We need to make sure the entire team is there. Completely understandable. So Penn Manor will be going up 2-0. They will actually go into, I think, 3-1, which gets them now back to current with the 4 weeks of play. 1-3, and now is the kind of the slight downhill slide for the side of Penn Trafford. That's pretty much all she wrote. I'm not surprised, but I also hope that Penn Trafford understands there's 2 more weeks of play. There's still league play to be done before the playoffs are here, and they can get to even 500. They just got to have everyone ready to go.
We say all the time, any given Sunday, a bad showing does not determine the rest of the season. There is so much that they can again work on and look forward to, and every new series is a new slate for sure. But yeah, for Penn Manor, I mean, a solid win. Penn Trafford, one of those. You know what? GG, chalk it up. Go next. Try not to think about it too much. Just get on with the rest of the tournament. And this is again just kind of one of those instances where we see teams that can separate, and top side of the bracket looking really strong. Penn Trafford still stuff to work on, but we play the game for a reason, and I'm sure that they'll be able to figure stuff out as the season continues. So good luck to them. Very excited to see what we get in the future. But that's been 2 hot 3-0s, or 2-0s, I should say, in these best of 3s. It's been brutally fast today.
It is lickety split, and I, at the possibility of lying to you, will tell you who's coming out, because we do have one more match ready to go to try and finish off our 3-0 night. It's Westmont Hilltop High School versus the Franklin Regional Panthers. Will they turn me into a liar? Well, you get to find out after this short break. Stick here for the Esport Company and PIA just after a little bit.
Everyone's seen death in their dreams, but we still wake up from our sleep. I'll be home soon. You don't gotta fight alone. The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation. It's crazy. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation. It's crazy. And it goes like
I'm neither a liar nor a lawyer this time. Welcome back, everyone. As I try to pass the bar test, we're going to map number 3 or match number 3 here for this week of Marvel Rivals. Week number 4 has had some action, has some short ones as well. As we sprinted through a couple with Penn, Trafford, Spaceman, we're going to get into our third one, Division 2 style, as we got the Hilltoppers and the Panthers ready to duke it out.
We have been speedrunning today's matches for sure, but this is going to be a little more even-keeled. We've jumped down a division, but we have all 6 players on both rosters. So God willing, we're going to have a full game, and when we do, I'm going to be excited. But the Hilltoppers, the Panthers, I'm very excited for this one specifically because though we do jump down a division, normally that doesn't matter too much in our conversation, but it does bring into topic the fact that Franklin Regional 1-2, currently sitting 9th, Westmount Hilltop 2-1, currently sitting 5th. Though there's a gap of 4 more schools. Again, we're sitting in a division where like those margins, those differences can be made up in game and can completely either get abused in game or taken advantage of. So that's basically the same thing. Basically, the point I'm trying to say is I don't think there's going to be much of a separation between these two teams, though the records do say otherwise. And given the skill level, I expect this to be close, and that's where I'm going to end my yapping for now.
And I will agree with you because with the way the Westmount Hilltop has gone 4-2, that means they went 2-0, 2-0, 0-2. So they have found some moments of vulnerability. A key marker as we look at the Hilltoppers, very securely getting rid of Spider-Man first. With the Winter Soldier going away from the side of Franklin Regional, that's kind of prototypical as you're like, all right, that man just can bring out the crack and smash and slap us out of existence. That's totally fine, especially if you want to be able to keep your cloak and dagger up. But as Spider-Man being focused, they don't want Spidey nothing out here with Penny Parker going away as well. What does that focus in on for you?
Well, that means that either A, Rockets is soon to follow, or B, they don't want to worry too much about reach and grab, which is fair. If you're Penny, obviously you can throw out the net and stun the first usually healer up in the line, which is likely an Invisible Woman, and then Cloak and Dagger to follow. You can basically slightly mitigate the lane for the healer for the Penny Parker. Obviously you get a lot of ground cover with those mines. And then, Spider-Man gets you pull ability, gets you a chance to gank and take players out of their fight and take players away from the map. So clearly, when it comes to the aerial game, Spider-Man's going to be a threat. Taken off the board means that hitscan now opens up. You now have a chance to play flyers like Iron Man or Ultron, which is great because you don't have to worry too much about Spidey coming on you. So there's again room here to maneuver, but I think flyers will be a difference maker in this. And so far, protecting Ultron is a good sign of things to come for Westmount Hilltop. But Iron Man's gone quickly after, no more synergy. So now it opens up. All right, what hit scans do we have? We have Phoenix, we have Punisher, we have Hela. There's still a lot here.
Okay, and so getting rid of that Squirrel Girl, not a lot of teams, especially into this complete league out of this Division 2, have posted up of needing to really get them off the field, but they didn't want any kind of a major long distance combat to have to be going against maybe the Iron Man, but recognizing the Ultron is going to be gone, that you don't want that mega combination, especially with all the extra nanobots that can come around between Ultron and Iron Man. But they do have the Phoenix safety picked. Didn't safety pick anything from the side of Westmount Hilltop. They're like, is it a concern? They're like, all right, well, Iron Man's out. I guess we'll pick whatever.
Tactical bait, I'm going to call that. I think that is a tactical mispick. And maybe it's enough to throw them off. Hela's gone. Okay, Angela out. I think that's fair for, again, if you're not confident being able to handle Hela, I think it's safer to get her out of the equation than it is to try to deal with her. It's easier at this stage of the game knowing that Emma Frost is still as dominant as she is because you've seen her, you have more reps against her. I think getting rid of Angela is a fair call for sure. Moon Knight's going to be great for the opening defense. Again, a lot of sustain, a lot of deterrence for sure. And looking to that offense, I mean, you have fastball special, you have Namor still available, though it doesn't really matter that Hela's out. There is quite a lot here for this Franklin offense to work with. I'm curious, though, would that Hulk be able to do enough against Ultron? If he can, that is your break through the back, your contest, your retake. That Hulk could be a nightmare.
You're also seeing the slight kind of personnel difference of going over to the double vanguard for the side of Franklin Regional, sitting a little bit more static. Actually, no, they're confiding, they're cavorting, they're communicating. They're trying to see if they want to maybe float into another player, maybe a flyer to go alongside their teammates, because the Phoenix is actually going to be so fast, so strong And seeing that they want to affect the field, maybe trusting into their Magneto just a little bit more. But that Magneto with the Hulk should be a bruise and cruise type of situation. But whenever I see a Moon Knight, I gotta say it, honk, honk, the bus might be rolling.
Yeah, you think that at this point, especially with Moon Knights invested in round ones, usually we kind of see it as a adjustment and audible that comes in later into a round 2 and a domination and a convoy into the second P2. It's okay, now we switch to Moon Knight to give ourselves some space. This is very much a confidence pick in the opening round for sure, but that's where I would love to see Hulk be a problem of not only being able to zone, but also that Gamma Stun can really shut down the pacing of a retake. And we know how good it is up close. We know how good the knockdown onto Strange, onto Ultron can be. And this is where Hulk gets most of their investment alongside that Wolverine. It's a beautiful start off the start.
My man got quads for days with the way these leaps are coming through. Mateo is making sure to just be all over the place and taking themselves in and out of combat. This will initially be unlocked by the Panthers as they'll be holding on in between the trees. But Westmont Hilltoppers are finding themselves at least at odds and ends as they will start to at least isolate a couple of separate fights. Oh, and that's going to be a stretch too far as Jax will go down. So Franklin Regional will see their first man drop out. They still hold point for right now as we begin the cruise and bruise.
Yeah, right idea, absolutely right. Just a step too far. And if you're trying to isolate the healers, nice call. Probably not the best choke point to throw your fastball special into, but it still does give leeway to the idea of playing aggressive on that second strategist, which is what we expected from this team given the roster comp we had in the opening picks and bans. And so far, it's been pretty easy hill control for Franklin. They're still sitting on the invisible boundary should they want it. Eternal Bond also in the pocket. You're getting close to the Khonshu investment, but I don't think you need to worry about it too much as we will get the Eternal Bond out from Westmount Hilltop, and now's the time to start stacking those ults.
Okay, do the invisible boundary. A lot of extra healing occurring right now, especially if you get all of Westmont trying to just take over this side of 63%. And now you go big Hulk style, so the Gamma is going to start to burn a little bit more. It's like you left the door open for the microwave, and there goes the hot dog, slamming them and trying to cram them as much as they can. Franklin is actually losing the numbers. Westmont Hilltop is starting to persist as eventually the form will go away. Still, though, this has not been broken, and the Hilltoppers are left all the way back line.
I mean, you get a great knock-up on a Strange, but there wasn't enough heals to follow. I mean, Franklin get a freebie there. There's no reason Strange should have gone down that quickly. 86 points and counting for Franklin. Finally, the retake and the eventual wipe for Westmount Hilltop. But though that's just a slight moment where it doesn't punish him too much. But Westmount did get pulled by the Hulk. Their Strange falls off the play, doesn't get healed and goes down. In any other situation against a better team, against a stronger series, that could be one of those plays that come back to bite you. But so far, they kind of stall out, they take advantage of the team fight, and they get their first points on the board.
You only have one ultimate left to go here for Franklin, so they're going to bring maybe that one back with another fastball and see if that does persist. Dylan is now the main frontliner, staying off of it. Now, man, you actually see your Moon Knight go down just as quickly. So Jackson is going to be going and doing the Jackson slide with the Jackson 5. Again, you don't want to have your strategist have to go into the meaty midst of a mighty Hulk, but still, they're actually doing fantastic work for Mateo. He has to escape.
Yeah, patty cake right there. Just like you're absolutely right. You don't want to take that 101, but if you're going to, it's back to season 1.5. Patty cake all the way down. You got a little bit of the zone clear again from the Moon Knight. Extra damage, unfortunately, could not extend to Hill, and Franklin will take advantage. So this is another instance where once more it is just kind of that opening break and really the tempo change. It's not that the rosters are too different or too uneven between these two teams. It's just play style, which is a very loose term, kind of an umbrella term that we can apply to many different aspects of the game plan. But the play style of Franklin was much more favorable to their setup than what Westmount Hilltop had to rely on for retake alone. Like their retake was very reliant on team fight wipe, then into investing our ults defensively. Franklin kind of bulldozed their way through those fights, which is very reminiscent of what Gateway did. So it's just a separation of maybe it is skill, maybe it is play style, but so far for Franklin, that margin is enough to make the difference. They get the first round, and they got to feel pretty comfortable going into this next one.
Seeing a bit of cross-play as well between some of these players in specific to the different esports titles that they play. I believe both Neon Neeks as well as Piggy B also play some Rocket League. So good to see them here on some Marvel rivals. And Westmount Hilltop, got to find a way through. They decided to sacrifice the ultimate off of the Phoenix initially because the Lovers Quarrel was ready to go between them, and then the final stand from off of this Wolverine. Jackson pops it immediately, and they're down to 1 HP. Oh my goodness.
We're immediately trying to heal our Cloak and Dagger as well as the Moon Knight. This is an investment for Team Fight 1. This is the opening round. We want to make sure we keep our punches up, which fair play. But you have to secure the backline as well and isolate Magneto. Does get the stun out. Nicely done by Luna to sustain some point. And again, back to these kind of 1v2 situation where you're able to peel that tank and then trap. That's the best way to secure a dive. And this has been pretty easy retakes from Franklin. Credit where credit's due to West Mountain Hilltop. They did a really nice job of sustaining this opening fight. But since then, their prioritizations on both Hulk and Magneto have not done enough to slow down the tanks, and it's forced things back. It has forced that front line away from spawn. This is Franklin just recognizing that through the chaos, they have a better game plan.
They also have a great combination ready to go off of the Insong Inferno and the Invisible Boundary. As now, just off of that, you also have your Cloak and Dagger as well as your Hulk. There's so much sustain that is going to be maintained right now by Franklin Regional, especially as they bring this fight all the way up and top against the Hilltoppers. The Hand of Khonshu has to be ready to go, but they can't really find a way to cleanly get it worked out and executed because they're just being dove into, and then bringing the big form. He will downgrade just a little bit off of all that extra gamma radiation, and being off of these stuns. I mean, Westmont Hilltop has been considerably stunned out and started every time they're taking these fights.
Yeah, they've been staggered even though that Meteor M doesn't land. They've at least been staggered back. This will give them some zone. Khonshu doesn't clean up anything yet, but again, it pulls numbers off the point. You get a couple weak, and now you have to capitalize. Ultron investment is great right now. Perfect timing to both heal Thing and to deal some damage on that Eternal Bond. You have to invest your ults here. I would expect the EMP from Phoenix to come into play any moment. Now is the time. Jeff is going to be on the field as well, and there goes the quick neutral, and Jeff just has to basically play with his food here. Throws it right back into the swing of things, and this is another instance where, again, Westmount Hilltop can test really well on point, but they can't find the separation they're looking for.
Nice little bit of saving grace there. There was going to be any major threat onto their tank, and so they just kind of reposition, force them to be able to come up the steps, a soft chase, if you will. But Franklin Regional has not left sight, still building up that percentage. They're going to crest over into 80%, and has been haymakers all day from off of Fake Jester. See if they can keep this one from off of the nearby wall, but still, they're actually kind of losing out to it. Man, just getting a little bit of spittle on them from their Jeff, but now their Jeff has been locked down and locked away, so Russ is gone. 365 Gamer has been doing fantastic work, and now you have to fight every one of the claws are out as well.
Only one healer up. It's all on the shoulders of Cloak and Dagger. There is just so much to ask here against a Wolverine, against the Hulk. Knock up onto everybody. Wait a minute. 1v4 on point. Magneto, the next victim. Hold on a moment. Westmount Hilltop are mounting an assault right back on the retake. Hulk's got nowhere to go. Now Invisible Boundary does hit the field for Franklin. Everybody's starting to get contest, and the team fight leans the way of Franklin once more. It was extra prioritization again after that Jeff pull, after the Captain America made his way on his own. And through all that chaos, Franklin still find a way to eventually knock down the Thing, take out the strategist, and retake the point. That is a really good play from Westmont, but a better response from Franklin. And at the end of the day, that's just good GG's all around. That's just a tough round to win.
That was a really good shielding moment as well from off of the Magneto, because looking at that haymaker, the way he got that kill off onto Jax, I was starting to see the hero in the moment. It felt like that they had gotten one solid stun and one good pummel. That might have gone sideways. At least to be able to get a couple of big picks, but leaving it up to your Thing is never what you want to do if you're Westmont Hilltop. Staying in the clinch, but eventually getting knocked out. At least here for our first map. So that one will go the way of Franklin Regional. Let's set up stats, because it's a 2-0, but it wasn't exactly like it was just completely cleaned off the board.
I want to look back at that last kind of team fight, specifically where Thing was playing off steps, was taking a 1v3, was able to get a couple of pokes in on Wolverine, backed up, had Jeff behind. Thing was sustaining both for spawn time, but also for pressure on point. Thing's ability to land blows onto Wolverine, on a Magneto, it was crucial to keeping that fight alive. The moment Thing turns around, rightfully so, to kind of retreat and pull back for health, it's kind of a combo mistake, a situation where dominoes fall too quickly for this team. They did the right thing. They had pressure from their tank. They had Thing kind of setting the tone against the Wolverine, against Magneto. Once he turns around, though, that's when you either need your Jeff or your healer to pull back at range and heal you, or you need to, as a tank, recognize that you've now pulled away from the fight. You have left your backside open and your healer vulnerable, to where Magneto has no reason but to challenge. He has no reason to not go for that Jeff, to go for that healer. So it's one of those, you made the right call in the moment, but in that instance, that's when you either need your strategist or your tank to then recognize that the opportunity that exists, the window that's now here for the defense on point to take you out, is available. And that's where I was waiting for Thing to turn around, either try to block and shield his Jeff, or for Jeff to get out of dodge and then buy a chance to come back and heal the thing. So it's one of those like, oh, they did the right thing, but the following series of events did not go their way because of just small windows where they needed to recognize that they don't have the room they think they have. And again, those are the moments where in the chaos, Franklin recognized that as long as we put ourselves in a position to contest, we're going to find the win because we know what we need to do when things get dicey. That's all they have to do. And it worked for sure. So I'm really excited to see what Hilltop can do going to the next game. I think it's going to be much closer, obviously, than we've had today. But it was just one of those moments where I was waiting for the right play to be made, and they made the right play. But when it came to securing the overall investment on your healer and to making sure that Jeff was okay, you saw Magneto kind of rock up and just peel him away. I'm like, oh, don't do that. No, that's not fair.
Just
Yeah,
slow
it's
walking
tough.
your little
Yeah.
shark puppy. Just
Yeah.
But also when you're breaking it down to be able to analyze to those kind of micro levels, that means that you're doing something right on the side of the Hilltoppers.
Yes.
Whenever we're just
Again, yes.
all right, please execute, see if you'll be able to kind of come together as a squad. When it now is becoming these micro, almost exhaustive perfection moments of just being able to get so much closer and find it in these narrow 2 to 5 second windows.
Yes.
That means you're doing something right. It's just
Yes.
it's such a tight pace, a velocity that has to be met, and it's in spurts. So I hope they
Yes.
walk away with some of that momentum, knowing, okay, we were definitely keeping these longer fights. Now, will it be to those main hero moments? It's going to be another convoy. So they get some extra time to maybe make some of these kind of dogleg hard corner of these funnel moments. They just can't let themselves get caught up into it. Do we know our map? No, we do not know our map yet. I kind of want to see some 2099. I really hope. Oh, as
I'd
our
like that
producers-
too.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
this one. It's one of my favorite looking maps theme wise. Oh, and look at that! All right, we're going.
Saucy producers.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right about that. And to quickly hit on and to kind of round that out with a little extra just non sequitur of like when we looked at, and this is not to pull them through the fire again, but to look at the separations today. When we looked at like Penn Trafford, it was you can't get to the minutia and the instinct game and the secondary and tertiary parts of a team fight if the fundamentals aren't there. When the fundamentals get there, that's the first step, right? So it was for Penn Trafford, it was fundamentally the structure of the team fights, the composition of the way they're taking these engagements is off. If you fix that, we can get into the deeper stuff. We can get to the forest through the trees. When it comes to the weeds of what we were seeing from Westmont, Hilltop, and Franklin, it very much was fundamentals are correct. Their team fights, their setups, their engagements are going well. Then it comes down to, okay, those small decisions that happen in between those gaps, that's both instinct and repetition from that's reflexes from scrims and practice. So they'll get there. That is one of those moments where, oh, I should have done that. I know that now, one, the more I play, and two, the more this feels like I can just naturally let my instinct take over. I know I need to do this in this team fight. I know I need to do this when I'm in this position. That comes with reps. That comes with just diving deeper into the game. But that is one of those things where you only get to those specific micro adjustments once you've got the fundamentals down, because then you can start building up the rest of the house. You can build up the windows and the chandelier and the stairs. You got to get the house there first before you do everything else. So both these teams have foundation. When it came down to the interior design, Franklin Regional were a little bit ahead of their counterparts. So it'll be fun to see on Convoy, again, a game mode that favors both sides getting a chance to swing a bat. It'll be fun to see if Westmount and Hilltop can slow this game down and kind of focus more on the individual play.
And this is also a big turning point as well for the Panthers, because if the Panthers do find this match, they go to even 500 and they bring Westmont Hilltop down to 2-2 with them. Like you had mentioned, there's a lot of fluidity in these mid ranks, and we've seen actually a few state champions come through at this midpoint of the rankings. So really telling point, especially at this downhill slide of the season, where all this is going to go. Now, considering that to our first position of domination, that we saw both sides flex a Wolverine, considering what 2099 is, do both sides kind of say no Wolverine? Do we see that as a priority of get rid of this clawed man? What do we do there?
I think, should they? Yes. Well, they probably not. I think. I mean,
I
at
wanna
this
play
level
it.
too. Yeah. Like, I mean, unless you're playing like top level Marvel Rivals Igniter champions, like even if you understand sometimes that the right banner pick is to kind of take away a character on a specific map, also sometimes it's like, you know what, so like we'll go ban for ban. Show me what you got for Wolverine, because it also means that if you don't take him off the board, that opens up the threat of one, he exists, two, the following pick also exists now, because you're not kind of what we saw earlier. You're not leading the conversation or picks and bans into a different choice. You're allowing Wolverine to exist, and you're also allowing whatever your secondary pick would be from him to then become a audible call mid-game, mid-round. So it's like it might be one of those, we don't ban it because we want that option to either be a threat or a trap card that we can spring in at any time to pull somebody else out in our roster. So I think they should, but I would not be surprised if they don't, because it just means there's more variables that they can tap into and use. So it's going to be, there's so much that they can choose for 2099, but it is definitely one of those maps that, like, 2099 gives me headaches. It is just one of those maps that you're either good at it or you get steamrolled, and I'm usually on the latter. It's just, it's a tough map.
I feel like at least one that I can assure is going to occur might not be the Wolverine, but the Incredible Hulk. Incredible Hulk, I think, needs to go if you are the Hilltoppers. It did not do you any favors. It wasn't exactly a full foil, but it was definitely a giant meaty wall that was just tough to get beyond. And look at that. First pick. Get him out.
Get him out. Fair play. Get him out. I like it. Get Invisible Woman out as well. So again, the boundary push and pull, one of my favorite abilities in the entire game. So good for creating space. So good for anti-flank, anti-gank. Not going to be a factor here. We will save it on the side of Westmount Hilltop. That's great. So again, Invisible Boundary could help with Thing. It could help with keeping Ultron up, especially if you want your flyers to be able to pick and poke and peel on zone and not so much have to path for heals like an Iron Man would have to. That's great for Ultron. Thor, we haven't seen too much in like the last season, but Thor used to be one of the biggest first calls as a tank to set the tempo up front against Magneto. So I think this is also going to be a pretty deep spot if Westmont Hilltop do want to jump in. There goes Wolverine. So already they're like, we don't want to deal with it. You can go to your pocket pick, your second choice, whatever it is. We're not dealing with Wolverine. Fair play. Franklin have some choices here up 1-0 in this series, and we'll see what they elect to ban out, because it could really dispel the rest of the tail of the tape for Westmont.
This is a very I don't want to be uncomfortable type of situation from the Hilltoppers. They got rid of what was just basically crudely getting into their backline all the time. So they make sure that the Wolverine and that Incredible Hulk go, and they keep Fake Jester's love of his life, making sure the Thing does stick around. And those were actually the first two in composite between the Winter Soldier and the Iron Man of bans by Franklin Regional in the previous stead. Making sure that the Spider-Man, that's actually a great call. If you don't want to get kidnapped in either which way, having to go into 2099, don't have the Beast with the adamantium claws, and don't have the kid from Brooklyn. Good call.
Hulk doesn't give you much of a kidnap. He does give you a
Spider-Man.
yeah. Like I was looking specifically at the Hulk and be like, okay, where does this lineup potentially lead to kidnap potential? You're right, like Spider-Man out, Wolverine out, Angela for sure out. Hulk gives you some, but not a whole lot. So it's like there is still kidnap availability on the field, but it is not as aggressive and as overwhelming as obviously the Wolverine, the Ultron being saved, the Thing being saved. So far, it looks like these are very standard, like protecting Invisible Woman for Franklin, protecting your, Phoenix. There's nothing too surprising about this. I think the more interesting bans came out of Westmont Hilltop.
They continue to not utilize one of their main bans. Maybe something just kind of staying away from the side of the Hilltoppers.
Tactical.
Just tactical bait, as you've called it. It's all within the playbook, keeping it around. Bait. But as much as they got rid of the Iron Man for the Hilltoppers, Iron Man very much exists on the side of Jax, who was that Wolverine. So maybe a player to watch and big plays to go alongside Neon Neeks, as they're going to be doing this from a top-down approach and having 365 as well as Mateo deal with everything from the ground.
And this, especially on this map, for Iron Man, you're going to have to path to heals more independently than other DPSs, specifically because one, that Omni Beam is so good. We know how good it is. You're gonna have to play low to the heals to make sure obviously that you can keep just launching that Omni Beam into the tank. But Iron Man has really great chase down as well. Like obviously maneuverability is part of his scheme, but the Omni Beam into rockets, into power up, into that extra damaged propulsion shot. As a strategist, one of your big takeaways when you have an Iron Man on your team is you can do all that damage, you can do so much with that Omni Beam, but I can't always be on your pocket to heal you, and you need to make sure you have your paths set up for when you need to get heals and get out, because he kind of is a win con even at this level, even at stages where that Omni Beam can be neutralized against like an Ultron or even a Phoenix. Iron Man can be the difference maker. So if we see that heavy investment against these fights in the air, once you get a pick or two, if I'm Iron Man, I'm dipping out, getting heals, making sure I stay close to the ground on my healers, because if you get picked off, that is so much damage off the board.
really is. And I wonder if we're going to see Jax at all flex between this as well as having a Star Lord at any point.
Yeah.
I bet they're a big player onto that. But we go into our first checkpoint, or at least our first choke point right now, as Franklin Regional will be onto this attack and trying to be able to push the issue against the Hilltoppers. Again, it's the main mans of Mateo that's going to be ready for the throws for these haymakers. Getting rid of that Unk. None of that redirect nonsense. We actually do have a Thor on the field. They've been trying to empower that particular Vanguard. Feels like every single update is like, can we make people actually want to pick Thor?
And for a while, they were successful. They absolutely made it work. And then, again, just give the Vanguards a little bit more buff. I don't know if it needs to be damage increase. I don't know if it needs to be, again, sustain for Thor, maybe some armor. You have the Odin Force. You can make that into ability. But this is also a moment where just down to fisticuffs, you are going to be favoring Thing with knockup, and Venom doesn't get too much. I should say the Venomized Thing doesn't get too much space to work around the zone. But free damage and free charges onto that ult for Moon Knight, a perfect spot to be in.
Slow progress, and this is actually a fantastic defense so far here from Westmount Hilltop. They do have a couple that will drop out, so they're just acting on a bit of fumes right now in the old gas tank as we go online right now with Mateo, who continues to advocate for some progress and some success going up to the gate. Now as they get rid of the Jeff, that will give them maybe one last team fight before this one is ultimately opened up. They've gone down to about 2 minutes 15 seconds. That's a nice kind of half burn. Unfortunately, they have their Thor that's locked away, so they got to rejoin the fight. That's going to give some time for the Panthers to maybe make this one up.
Huge recovery. I mean, Thing was almost in no man's land for a moment. Surprised that Thor was able to escape that engagement, but credits to Westmount Hilltop for, again, playing really nicely off that little path, keeping Thor back, and really Dylan doing a nice job of just buying time for the rest of his team to get in position. It forced Thing to fall back for heals. Now to the Meteor M, 2 knockups. It's going to clear the back line, but it won't do enough to, again, split this zone. It does allow Thor to escape. And then once more down to a 1v1, there's your moments where Franklin take advantage. Once they have the peel, once they have the isolated fight, their damage, their reduction of zone is like, their damage input is so high that they can just out-duel those healers all day, every day. And we've seen it in 2 games now that, again, they find success. They'll continue moving the zone.
Seen a couple rock people go in for big bear hugs to slam this down. This looks like a good time. Looks like a family reunion, and all the big men just come out and play. We'll have the It's Jeff coming up, but that's an overextension way too far. I don't know if that was just kind of a solo effort to try and slow things down, but it didn't come with any extra prizes. As you again continue to see the Panthers cutting them out. You do have the Hand of Khonshu. That will find some major contact, and this is something the Hilltoppers can run with.
That's 3 dead. Almost the 4th. Whoa, so weak on Cloak and Dagger. So weak on Cloak and Dagger. She still gets out. Unbelievable. The chase down here from Ultron is not enough to clean her up. I mean, that is your win con into this team fight right there. You get that healer down. The Invisible One was nowhere to be found. You can take the close quarters engagements against Phoenix and force the centering to become a problem. So close from Westmount Hilltop, excuse me. But again, credit where credit's due. They go toe-to-toe in this team fight, right on the point, and they do a very nice job of being able to sustain their health. We'll see now what they can do against this Phoenix.
Got the Windsong Inferno, you've got the Eternal Bond, and they both out, so a lot of zoning to get that cart moving in the right direction, trying to be able to take this one all the way. As a Hand of Khonshu, there's not going to be any Egyptian curses, at least, laid down just yet. As Mateo's going full haymakers to the man in the back line, so the Billionaire finally having to run away, as that's going to be Ultron now finding their way into some Knuckles, and that Spider-Bot will move up into the end point of this second checkpoint. They lost at least a minute in the midst of all of that stagger back after finding that 3K. Westmount Hilltop, though, is finding themselves at their own door, and the final path for victory laid out right in front of the Panthers.
Yep, it's right there. Like you said, it's just for the taking. I will say the Ember Frost is a little too far back in that second tier of this fight. I mean, Thor's doing the most kind of brute force up front, but that Ember Frost diamond form can shut down things. It can force both your Cloak and Dagger and Jeff to kind of peel back. This is a chance to establish some dominance here for Westmount Hilltop. And closing in on those ults, 81% for Emma Frost. This could be a Sonic seduction for the ages.
Jack's taking down his own creation. That'll be the Ultron falling out, and so will both strategists. Now, as Westmount Hilltop is left limping, they need to recover, but as they do and try to escape, the prioritization of making sure the main people that keep you alive are gone has paid dividends for the Panthers. They've got a lot of ultimates. They have the ability to leap. They're going to knock down doors. Gonna try and take you home and away from them. And this is not where you want to find yourself, especially you have Jeff trying to just get in, maybe get out, but they're gonna catch these hands. Westmont Hilltop will now be waiting at the other end of the ramp as the Panthers continue to cruise.
And this is a slow walk now to basically your final destination here. I mean, we know what's coming. We know what the investments are going to look like from Visible Boundary. We know it's going to lead into a knockup. Meteor M is going to be focused on strategists in the back. Jeff has to heal perfectly in this spot. Cloak and Dagger has to heal perfectly from this position. That Eternal Bond and this Jeff ult might make the difference in this round. The Meteor M does not connect. Sonic Seduction does zone away payload, but it buys you some time to, again, clear the point. They invest a lot here. The Sonic Seduction and Eternal Bond and the Invisible Boundary. So much put on the field from Westmount Hilltop. Does it pay off?
God of Thunder ready to go. They're going to spit out their own man. Do have some time as they've put 3 on target. They have forced all the Panthers back. Oh my goodness, give them the quad as Russ is able to make a huge play. Less than 2 minutes to go. Finally, a spark of life deep in the waters out of the Hilltoppers. Franklin Regional, they have a couple of key ultimates to bring in. They've done it the same way. I wonder if they're going to do it again off that wombo combo, but they need Dylan to not overextend.
All you need if you're Franklin is the knockup from Thing or a Eternal Bond into a Iron Man Ultra Beam into Pulse Cannon. It was a beautiful, beautiful stop from Westmont Hilltop. A perfect, flawless investment from Jeff. Now you get a couple of win cons here for Franklin. It just comes down to converting. But so far, the boys in blue are holding. They're holding this front line really well.
Hold it for another minute and 15. 75 seconds will feel like an eternity. But Franklin Regional, they're feeling it slip so much quicker. Got to play to that front line. Fake has moved over. Now to just stay under this Emma Frost thighs will save lives in this moment. They're going to also have a big ultimate to combine with it. That Insong Inferno now comes up, especially with the Eternal Bond as well. They're going to back away, play off of this hard wall concept, but now you're getting bled to death. Only 100 HP left to go as they go diamond form just to mitigate. Hilltoppers will have that spawn priority and that advantage, but they've got to quickly get to the bot because this ramp is becoming very short. Panthers might be able to get this 3rd point.
Well, Iron Man just has to go hunting. Like we've seen, there's been another big play on the back line. Here comes the Pulse Charge. Chase down from the Thing. Thor doesn't land for much. Iron Man did get stunned, but again, when it comes to zone clear, it's been all of Franklin in this round. They had to really fight tooth and nail to get to this 3rd tick, but they do get it down to the wire. Knock up, everybody weak, all red in the kill feed. Goodbye, thanks for challenging. That is a full cap onto point. Franklin invests their ults late into the round, and it pays off for a 3-0 lead going to the next side.
There's a lot of players and a lot of teams that would see that previous staggered out from that team fight that we saw, not only from the Jeff quad, mind you, but then when they tried to re-engage from the on the side of the Panthers and seeing themselves stuttered, they then invested the Inferno Windsong and Insong Inferno and just being able to bring that back to sight with the Eternal Bond. That was that key linchpin to then not panic. It was like the man with the flag out in the field saying, everyone follow me. They kept themselves calm, and then the Hilltoppers began to recede, and they really weren't able to recover from that stagger. So now, Hilltoppers, they got on the attack. I already see them with a Namor, and Namor is pretty cool in this match.
I'm really more impressed with Hilltop's resiliency, especially when they've kind of bend but not broken. They have really been tested, especially when it comes to their opening fight, their adjustments between strategist positioning and their duelists getting back circled into blocking for tanks, also peeling away damage from keeping their strategists alive. Line of sight has been a big factor for teams today. We saw it earlier with Strain doing a good job of peeling that away. This has been Westmount Hilltop backs against the wall, handling that pressure really, really effectively. And that's credits to both Dylan, it's credits to your Emma Frost for sure, but it's credit to the heals. I mean, it cannot be understated how important the heals have been for that last engagement, that last contest, even though it got drawn out into the 3rd side. This is a chance on offense to show us what you showed us on defense. Westmount Hilltop have shown that they can go toe-to-toe against a high-powered offense, and we'll see if they can do it on their side, but the heals have been showing up, and that's really all you need.
Try to poke up with them more is something that just can play so well, and they're also going to be using that off of Lennon, who has now done a role change. They've gone away from strategists. They were the Ultron a little bit before, but they're on the Black Panther, so they're going to be roaming, they're going to be hunting, and we see with JoJo what kind of tactics and just straight up damage can they throw while the rest of their team is providing some mitigation. It's flying under, again, this initial choke point directly underneath the bridge. It's thing on thing, one detective, one just a beach goer, throwing these rocks right at one another to see if they can get this cart moving again.
Gonna do a nice job again of shoving. All you have to do just up front, just continue to shove. Everybody else gets to do their job, isolating some of those pokes on that back strategist. And one will fall. Black Panther out of the equation. Thing as well. And the offense starts to crumble just a little bit, but we've seen this before time and time again. The opening contests on P1 do really favor the damage output that Franklin have. Cosmic Yarn is a bit of an interesting choice here. It is very much a last-ditch effort, a last resort, if you will, to keep numbers up, but I don't know if it really led to much, as again, a lot of time on the clock, and they don't get much from that.
You have the Clobber time ready to go. The Ensong Inferno can be such a great combination from off of that. So Franklin Regional has another team fight that possibly is already in the books for it to be won. You also have your Vanguard, who's very much stuck. You don't want them going down, but that's exactly what's going to happen. So it's Clobber time. They're going to be laying things down. Ensong Inferno, the quick wombo combo, and it's paying dividends.
You still got to cap the point. I know you got a lot of time on the clock. It's still a lot to be proud of for Westmont Hilltop. Resiliency can take you far, but you still have to cap. You got 2 minutes on the board. You got 4 ults to work against. Surely they know there's going to be investment soon. Again, you need your Emma to kind of create some cadence up front, and you need those heals to back her up. This is where Emma Frost needs to be an X factor in this game, no pun intended. She has to make an impact.
What they do best, just to slowly dance along, get the Queen's aura to move with them, but they also have to find some damage, and that has been so tough to do. 4 big and stun. See if they can actuate from off of that. The Horn of Proteus would have been fantastic in that moment, but everyone is being bled dry. You're going to have to go into the full cocoon and make sure that the waters will recede, but in the same vein, Dylan goes down. So you're losing another medium mighty mitt. Franklin Panthers might be able to hold this one for much longer. They have less than 90 seconds to go before this one's going to be a straight 3-0.
Well, the pulse isn't really going to catch much. It does get your Emma Frost out, but it doesn't do a whole lot to reestablish this team fight. So if you're Westmont Hilltop, you'll take that all day, every day. You keep your squids up if you're Namor. You have your Sonic Seduction. Black Panther's going to invest. I think now is the time to, I mean, there's really no choice, to get Jeff towards the back line, then follow up with the Namor ult, then try to push that Sonic Seduction to pull everybody in and take advantage of the damage that the squids could give out. This is your opportunity for Westmont Hilltop to push this payload forward.
Silent Seduction is up, so they're just trying to keep that one on the card. They eventually do force Mateo to just go to a back alleyway, and he didn't want to make a deal back there, so they do find it in the form of a fist. Franklin Panthers seeing the chase down occur. They're finally moving this one along. I think they might still have to face off into a team fight for this final gateway push if they want to get this checkpoint, but they might have just enough momentum. They actually are getting back capped. There is no progress happening right now. Everyone is overextended from the Hilltoppers. Franklin Panthers were able to pause this for all of a second, but that's also because your Magneto was just lurking around.
Nice plays all the way around. Good recognition. When we talked about in the last game, little moments where the tertiary fights and the decisions have to be enough to be able to overwhelm the team fight to get you back into the swing of things. These are the moments we're talking about. Beautiful diamond hands on point. Here comes Jeff. A nice recovery and reroute from Westmount Hilltop onto zone. Can they close out this first tick? Jeff's to grab a couple, throws back out his teammates, and back into the team fight we go.
Should have an inevitability and eventuality that goes the right way for the Hilltoppers. I say that with all confidence of a small squirrel and a big dog coming at them. It looks like that eventually they're going to get overwhelmed. They're going to diamond form, see if they can be able to take on the fist. They eventually get a stun, but the choke slam doesn't happen. 3 stuns out now from the Panthers as the Hilltoppers are seeing themselves lose the numbers. The overtime is nigh. They have to get rid of 1 extra man, and eventually they might be able to encapsulate it. Mateo has been such a thorn in the form of a rock in all of these Panthers' paws, and it has given them pause. They cannot advance this spider.
Dylan is excellent in this round. It's just been complete domination from Thing, though it doesn't buy enough time. It does buy a second opportunity, a get out of jail free card here. Tunnel Bond does hit the field. The Thing was doing so much to keep this round alive. Wow. In the end, it comes down to the clock. Westmount Hilltop could not clear point. Franklin could contest Thing v Thing. We're going to go blow for blow. At the end of the day, brute offense does often win out against better heals. In the end, it's Westmount Hilltop who came so close to getting this game extended and sending us to the next round, but Franklin do take it 2-0 at the end of that defense, and this was really just a testament to, again, the bend don't break mentality that the defense of Westmont Hilltop had in round 1. Franklin had the same result. They eventually bought themselves an opportunity, a window to win. They found it, and credits to both tanks on both sides. They played phenomenal.
You know, we get to be wholesale focused on what we saw from Adam Mateo. We really did the ride along alongside those tanks, but like quietly, just like what we got to see with the Magic a little bit ago, going like what 19-0, 42-7 ain't bad out of Jax. They were definitely a standout when it was in game number 1, game number 2, no less. But it feels like all the features end up to the sky, and that's the job that they're supposed to be doing. Same thing for just keeping the team in such good lockstep control, especially as the thing that has to basically receive so much damage from so many sources and face it with a mighty grin and just staying in. So job well done for the Panthers. They will go exactly what we were talking about before, 2-2. Both these teams actually at the same rocker, and that means that they're slowly edging their way up. 2 more weeks to go. They might even be able to see themselves above even 500.
And I think this is still there are losses that hurt. There are losses that are a wash. We've seen that earlier today. There are also losses that obviously they teach you stuff, but there are losses that don't hurt too bad. And I think this is one of those losses for Westmount Hilltop where if I'm the players, hopefully they're not hanging their heads. They understand that, yes, it was a close game. They had chances to win, but they kept it so close. And it's not just because it was so contested all the time, but they showed that they could both respond to the offensive pressure that Franklin had, but also when it came to just straight up fisticuffs, like this is a team that went blow for blow, and it does mean a lot. And down the line for Westmount Hilltop, this is a loss that I hope will propel them into the right mindset of, oh, we're on the right path, just a couple of tweaks and we're there. And I think this is one of those where if I'm the captain, if I'm the agile, if I'm the coach, I'm like, hey, that was a tough loss, but that's a great loss. That's a moral victory for us, is that we know what we have to do to get right. And a really good showing from that squad. All sweeps today. Didn't expect that at all. But what a day of rivals.
Yeah, got to see a little bit of it today. And of course, there is actually still more that's happening when it comes to TEC overall as well. PIEA, the high schoolers are getting the job done along with that homework. They're trying to prep for all Halloween. But on TEC, we present a lot of Waynesburg as well as St. Francis. So if you want to see the collegiate side of some esports, check it out in the evenings. That's what's going to be happening here as well as on the Esport Company channel. So you can see it anywhere you see PIEA as well as that main channel. You'll be able to find some awesome esports. They do several different leagues. I think they got NECC, that ECAC. If it has a C, the collegiate side is pretty much doing it. So make sure to check that out. And I think this one is the end point for PIEA, at least this week, because we'll be going back around the bend to next Monday, just after we set our clocks back, by the way. Don't forget, daylight savings is now going to be over on Sunday. So, yeah.
That's right. Extra sleep.
Like 1 to 3 a.m. that doesn't exist. Something in there.
I'll take it. I'll love me some sleep. But also be safe out there trick-or-treating tomorrow, all you students. Have fun. Dress up as the thing. You got Marvel characters to choose from. Dress up as an Octane if you're weird like that. Go get a little Rocket League action in there. Let's go crazy.
Yeah, I think I'm going to dress up as like an inflatable frog. I feel like that's the vibe.
I like that.
Yeah,
like
big,
that, you know?
big old frog. So spawn with me, my Kermits. But thank you so much to all of our awesome production as well, that being our faces in your spaces by our awesome producer in the form of Caddy. He did a great job.
Yeah.
Spaceman, I dreamed about being in a booth with you one time, man. It was a great time with you.
Always a pleasure. Hope we get to do more rivals in the future, and always fun chopping it up about one of the most entertaining games to watch in the esports circuit. So again, everybody who competes at tier 3, tier 2, collegiate level, scholastic level, high school students, athletes, whatever it is, continue to support your local esports scene, because with you, these events are possible.
Very much is. Hey, but for right now, prep for the evening time. Go get some awesome dinner, do your homework, and have a great time. I'm Hail Monkey Man. That is Spaceman. You are a great man, woman, any man out there, and y'all have a great night.
Rising with each beat of the music is